This week's Parshas speaks about the plagues in Egypt. And there were many different types of plagues. Some of them were wild, crazy miracles. And some of them were wild beasts running around in the street. Not such a crazy miracle. Now, interestingly enough, the Torah says by the fourth plague, the wild beasts, and the fifth plague of the cattle dying, Hashem says to Pharaoh, only the Egyptians will suffer this plague, not the Jews. The Jews won't suffer. Now that's interesting because that implies that the other plagues were inflicted on the Jews too, and obviously that's not the case. So why did the Torah write that the plague only inflicted the Egyptians by the fourth and the fifth plague? You see, what was the purpose of the plagues? It wasn't just a punishment. One big punishment would have been enough to take care of Pharaoh and send them out of Egypt. But you see, when Moshe came down to Pharaoh the first time and said those famous words, "Let my people go," Hashem sent me, let my people go. What did Pharaoh answer? Pharaoh said, who's Hashem? I don't know him, I don't recognize him. Hashem says, you want to know who I am? I'll share with you who I am. And that's what the plagues were about, were lessons in who Hashem is. So the first one is taking water and making it into blood. That's a wild miracle. Hashem says, look, I can do absolutely everything. Take all the waters and make it into blood. Hashem could make hailstones out of ice and fire and they come crashing down. It's a miracle. Hashem does all these types of cool, crazy miracles. But Hashem says, you know what I want to do? You know who I am also? I run nature. When you think things happen naturally, I'm behind that. Wild animals in the street, we've heard the story of a lion escaping the zoo. A cow lost its way. But Hashem says, I want you to recognize, it wasn't just the cow lost its way. Go check by the Jews. Wild animals were running all over Egypt, but they didn't enter the Jewish ghetto of Goshen. When the cattle were dying, it wasn't just a bad case of mad cow disease in that area, because only the Egyptians had it, not the Jews. And that's why Hashem was teaching us and telling Pharaoh, I want you to know that who I am, I run nature too. And Pharaoh actually sent his servants and told them, go check if the Jews are suffering too. Because he wanted to see if this was really a lesson. Is it God or is it Mother Nature? We have to take this lesson when we see tsunamis or hurricanes. It's not Mother Nature. Hashem is behind it. Hashem is all-powerful, and Hashem is the one that runs nature. And if we have these major natural disasters, there may be wake-up calls from Hashem, and Hashem is talking to us. Let's learn to get that message and recognize how great and powerful Hashem is, and He's behind everything. Thank you. This week's Shabbos, the Traveling Hasidim will be having two Shabbatons, one in Westport, Connecticut, and the other in a new community in Albany, New York. I'm sure we're going to have a wonderful time. Thank you and good Shabbos.